so much for joining me. We will be working today on some back bends and some heart openers and on our shoulders. No props are required, but as usual, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you want a blanket or blocks or anything else, you can go ahead and set that by your mat. And we're going to start out in child's pose, or if child's pose doesn't work for you, you can always lie flat down on your belly. Come kind of to the center of your mat. If you're doing child's pose, maybe take your knees a little bit wider than the distance of your hips so there's space for your belly to lie down between your legs. And crawl your fingertips out in front of you. And if you're lying on your belly, you can also crawl your fingertips out in front of you. And then push your fingertips into the floor. Lift the palms of your hands up a little bit. Feel that deeper stretch as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, relax the hands to the floor. Repeat that twice more as you inhale. Press the fingertips down. Lift the arms up. As you exhale, release. And one more time. Press the fingers down. Lift the palm. And release. Allow your forehead to be resting down. It could be resting on a block or on the floor here. Feeling a gentle pressure against the space above your eye. Feel like you can rock your forehead a little right to left. Massaging. One more deep breath here. Coming back to the center line again, press your fingertips into the floor, lift the palms of your hands. This time also lift your forehead. And you're going to thread your right arm underneath your left armpit, lying the side of the head down or the forehead back down, your choice. And you can stay here, or if it's better for your body, you can always be taking this pose from your tabletop position as well. So you can see which one works, for your body. Tabletop threaded needle or child threaded needle. And just see how that feels. Maybe you crawl your right hand out in front of you for a little stretch there. Your left hand out in front of you for a little stretch there. Use your left hand up here. Maybe you like to interlace your fingers, and then gently you can use your left hand to just bring that right hand a little further under if you want. You can keep the hands laced, or you could go back to bringing that left hand in front of you. And stay here for a few more breaths. Let the weight of your body do the work here. When you're ready, press into the right fingertips. Lift up. Press into the left fingertips, I'm totally backwards tonight. Press into the left fingertips, lift up, unwind yourself, and you're going to keep working on the right side. You're going to walk your fingertips, both sets of them, over to the left. Lower your forehead back towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch, and you can always use a block if it doesn't like to. Maybe you even like to take your right hand on top of your left hand, interlacing the fingers, now stretching the whole right side of the body. When you're ready, you're going to walk your fingertips back to the center line. Place your fingertips on the floor. Now take your left arm and thread it underneath the right armpit. Here. Again, you can be doing this as I am in child's pose, or you can lift your hips up, more that tabletop pose. If you need to take a break in between sides to adjust, please don't hesitate. You can always keep that left arm in front of you, or you can do the interlacing, right arm in front of you. It's going to be one of those days. Don't listen to my left-right instructions too much because they're probably going to be a little bit confused. If I started on one side and I suddenly switch, don't listen to me. We'll be doing right first and then left as we move through our practice. So hopefully I can keep track a little better and you can keep track for yourself as well. If it sounds like I'm saying the wrong thing, I most likely am. Once you're ready, you're going to unthread your left arm, and then you're going to walk your fingertips over to the right to stretch the left side. So over the opposite direction that you did before. You can always interlace the fingertips, left on top of right if you want to. Takes a little deeper into the shoulder if that feels good to you already. When you're ready, you want to come back to the center line. Unwinding your fingers. Press your hands down, start to lift your hips. And now you're coming towards table, walking your hands under your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Shrug your shoulders a little bit back away from your ears as you inhale, soften the center of your chest here, relax your belly, cow pose. As you exhale, lift your belly, tuck your tail, and your gaze down, cat pose. Just move a few times between cow and cat at your own pace. One more set. And then coming back to your neutral spine, and shrug your shoulders back and tuck your toes under here. We're going to go into downward facing dog, and you can stay in this kind of short position as you rock back, lifting your knees, downward facing dog. Or if you want, and you feel like you have a little more space already, you can walk your hands a couple of inches out and then rock your weight back, lift your knees, and come to downward facing dog. And don't hesitate to change the distance between your hands and your feet. You want to feel, as you keep your knees a little bit soft here in this downward facing dog, a nice bit of stretch around your armpits and your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide, and feel more than free at any point to take your hands wider than your shoulders tonight, a little bit of extra support. Sometimes when we're very tight and compressed in the shoulders, a little bit wider can feel really nice. If you feel really tight there tonight, try widening the hands a little bit and see if that helps, giving a better stretch. Of course, feel free to move around with your lower body here as well. Ready. And just want to gently walk your feet towards your hands, coming to dangle at the front of the mat. Let your knees stay soft. You might choose to leave your hands heavy or on blocks. You might choose to lace your hands into the opposite elbow crease. Whatever you choose with your arms, you might like to nod your head, yes. Or shake it, no. Keep your tailbone sticking out behind you. Keep your knees soft. This is really all about your upper body for this first forward fold today. arms, find halfway lift, fingertips to the floor, the shins or the thighs, spine roughly parallel to the floor. Exhale to soften. Keep the knees soft. As you inhale, keep the arms heavy and ragdoll, rolling one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to standing. When you reach standing, roll your shoulders back, turn the palms of your hands forward, take a deep breath. As you inhale, take your arms up over your head. As you exhale, relax your shoulders a little bit. Your palms are still facing one another, so your pinkies are at the front edge of your mat. And then inhale again, lift your heart, lift the center of your chest, maybe pull your arms a little back by your ears, a little tiny back bend as you arch back here. And then as you exhale, sweep your arms behind you, let your palms rotate to face the sky as you bend your knees, folding back forward. As you inhale, bring your hands to your legs somewhere, lift up halfway. As you exhale, plant your hands underneath your shoulders, step your right foot or your right knee to the back of the mat. Step your left foot or your left knee to the back of the mat, table, or downward facing dog. Inhale to come forward to your version of plank. Knees could be lifted or lowered to start off with. Shrug your shoulders back, lift up the center of your chest. Imagine that there is a little puff of air right between your shoulder blades back here, just lifting them up towards the ceiling, lifting your spine from between your shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Lift your belly button towards the ceiling. We're going to hold here for one more deep breath. Shoulders are still moving back. And then if you haven't already done so, knees come to the floor. Exhale, slowly lower down. See how it feels to keep your elbows in towards you as you do that. So they're pointing to the back of the mat. If that feels okay, untuck your toes, tuck your pelvis down. Lift to a little bit of a cobra. If that doesn't work for you, feel free to take your hands wider as you come down, elbows out to the side today. See what works for your body. Inhale, cobra could be wide hand or close hand. You lift up and just roll your shoulders back. And then as you exhale, lower yourself down. Bring your hands back under your shoulders, press back to table pose, walking your hands underneath your shoulders. We're going to kind of move a little more into that threaded needle, but more dynamically now. Inhale, reach your right arm to the sky. Exhale, take your right arm underneath your right shoulder. Inhale, reach your right arm to the sky. Exhale, take your arm under your shoulder. You can do one more like that. And then you're going to reach that right arm up into the sky as you inhale. As you exhale, bring the right hand to the floor. Inhale, reach the left arm up to the sky. Exhale, thread it under. You have two more like that, your own pace. Mobilizing the shoulder a little bit. Bring that left arm once more to the sky as you inhale. As you exhale, plant the hands down. Walk the hands a little forward. Slide your shoulders over your wrists. Plank, low plank, or tucking the toes. High plank. And here we hold here for just a few breaths. Shrug your shoulders back. Lift the center of your chest. Lift your belly. Feel a little bit of strength in your shoulders. From your plank, maybe you can lift to downward facing dog. If your knees are lifted, give them just a little bit of softness. Rock back. See if you can pull up with your belly button back to downward facing dog. If you're coming from a table pose, you can always rock back, tuck your toes under, and then lift from there, downward facing dog. Keep your belly a little elevated. And again, my legs are feeling pretty good being straight. This is my second yoga class of the day, so I can still feel the stretch of my shoulders with my legs being straight. If what you find is when your legs start to straighten, you feel just your hamstrings, just your legs, bend your knees so you still feel your shoulders stretching. Or even just if you want a deeper sensation in your shoulders, bend your knees. Walking, stepping, or hopping, you're going to bring your feet back to the front of the mat. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, fold forward, another variation on the forward fold. You're going to take your arms behind your back and interlace your fingers. Lift your arm perhaps a little more towards the ceiling, stretching the shoulders out. If your hands don't like to interlace, not a problem. You can always grab a wrist or the opposite elbow, or you can hold a strap or a sock or a towel between your hands here as well. As you inhale, you're going to release your hands, bring them onto your legs, half lift. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Inhale, circle your arms up over your head. Exhale, folding gently forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down, step your left foot or your left knee back. Step your right foot or your right knee back, downward facing dog. On an inhale, your version of plank, low or high. And again, puff up that space between your shoulder blades. Lift your belly button so you're not sagging into this plank. You're strong, you're lifted. You are basically a human bridge, and if something was to come and need to walk over you, let's say perhaps a rather fat kitty, was to need to get from one end of the yoga mat to the other without touching it, you could walk all 16 pounds of him across your back. You're that strong. You're that stable. Now you could lower your knees down and come to the floor again, or you could leave your knees up. Again, you could try tucking your elbows in if that works for you. It's like your inner arms are kissing the outside of your body. You come all the way down, you untuck your toes, and you lie to the mat. You can also take your hands a little wider, either knees up or down. When you reach the mat, inhale, find cobra, roll your shoulders back. Exhale to release. Push back towards your table pose. Slide your hands in a little bit. Spread your fingers really nice and wide here. You can tuck your toes under as well if you like, or not. See how it goes. And then just rock a little bit forward and back. And you can bring your shoulders up towards your fingertips, and then back, hips towards the heels, stretching the feet, stretching the wrists. And just go as far forward as you need to. Keep pressing all 10 of your fingertips down. This is just like a little transfer of weight forward and back. A little bit of strength for your wrists. And you can be pressing quite firmly down into the floor here. Try one more. And we're going to give the wrists a little break. So come on back. You could sit on your heels here with your toes tucked under or not. Just extra work for the feet. Or you can stand on your knees if that feels more comfortable. Take a moment and wiggle out your wrists. You know, kind of floppy. Wiggle out your fingers. And then press the palms of your hands together. Press the tips of your fingertips together actively, so your biceps, your triceps are working as you press your hands together. And then do the same thing, turning your hands around, pressing the backs of your hands a little bit together. It's more challenging, especially to get all the fingertips to line up. Relax your shoulders as you do that. All right, release your hands. Come back onto your hands and knees. This time you're going to place your elbows under your shoulder. We're going to go for a dolphin pose. You can have the palms of the hands on the floor. You can have the palms of the hands touching one another. You could interlace your fingers. Just if you interlace your fingers, make sure that your pinky finger, instead of sitting underneath the other pinky finger, that bottom pinky finger sits inside so you're not crushing it. Elbows are shoulder distance apart. Tuck your toes. Rock your weight a little back. Lift your knees and start to bring weight forward into your forearms. If it feels good, you can straighten your legs, even walking your feet a little bit closer towards you. It's like a downward facing dog with your forearms on the floor. And your forehead is just as close to the floor as it gets. It doesn't need to rest down here. In fact, it's nice for your head just to hang. And again, your knees could be really soft here, or your legs could start to straighten. You see what feels good. Nice deep work for the shoulders. From here, see if you can walk your feet back, coming into a forearm plank. Again, your shoulders are over your wrists. You lift that space between your shoulders. You lift your belly. You become that super strong, living bridge, basically. And you hold for another couple of breaths. And if you're saying to yourself that this is supposed to be a sweet shoulder class, why is it so fiery? Don't worry, the sweetness is coming. Lower your knees to the floor, untuck your toes, lower your belly down, separate your hands if like me, you've laced your hands up, and come towards your sphinx. If you need to adjust where your elbows are, slide them forward or back, go ahead, and then lift up, shoulders back as you inhale. As you exhale, lower all the way down, hands under the shoulders, right underneath or wide shoulder distance, your choice, your variation of cobra, lifting up as you inhale. And as you exhale, release. Hands come under the shoulders, tuck the toes. You can press straight back to plank. You can press to table. And then everybody maybe lifts to downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. Feel the stretch again in your arms, your shoulders, your back. Walking, stepping, hopping. Come back to the front of the mat. Inhale, find halfway lift. As you exhale, you're going to soften. As you dangle, maybe you take your arms behind your back. If you interlace your fingers, maybe think about lacing the weird way this time, so the opposite finger is on top. And if you held onto a strap, you can hold on again, or hold on to the opposite wrist or opposite elbow lace. Lifting those arms up. As you inhale, you release your hands. You find halfway lift. As you exhale, you soften. As you inhale, roll yourself all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, bring your hands down in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down. You're going to step your right foot or your right knee back. And then your left foot or your left knee back, table, downward facing dog, your choice. Inhale to your variation of plank, high or low, no hold here. Exhale all the way to the mat. Inhale, lift the center of your chest. Remember, you could do hands right under the shoulders, elbows pointing back, or elbows wide, hands wide. Exhale to release. Tuck your toes under, press back, table, plank, and then downward facing dog. From here, inhale, float your right foot into the sky. As you exhale, step your right foot behind your right hand, drop your left heel to the floor, about a 45-degree angle with that back foot, and lift yourself up. Warrior one, squaring your hips to the front of the mat. And just like we did a little bit earlier, relax your shoulders as you breathe out. As you breathe in, lift the center of your chest, the space right in between your sternum, where your yoga heart sits. And you want to lift your chest up as you pull your shoulders back, going into this little back bend here. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Take your arms again behind you. You could hold a wrist, hold the elbows, or lace the fingers. Torso comes perhaps a little bit to the inside of that front thigh. Humble warrior. Hug your right hip in towards the center line. On an inhale, peel yourself back up. Reach your arms again over your head. We're going to go a little deeper into our back bend. Bring your right hand to your right hip, and you might decide to stay here. Left arm stays to the sky, and you lift the center of your chest again, and you lean a little back. Maybe your left arm comes a little back. That might feel like plenty. If you want to go a little deeper, you can slide the back of your right hand onto your tailbone, lifting a little more, or even slide your right hand down your left leg as you lean back, exalted warrior. Relax your shoulders here. Deep breath in and gentle sigh out. Your next inhale is going to lift you all the way up. You're going to windmill all the way back down to the floor. Plant your hands down, turn your back foot straight forward and back, and step back, downward dog or table pose. Inhale to plank. As you exhale, knees up or down, lower all the way to the floor. Now, bring your right foot towards your right buttocks. And then lift the center of your chest a little bit. You can have your hands on the floor, or you can have your elbows on the floor. See what feels good. That might be plenty. You're welcome to stay right here. If you want to go a little further, you can grab your right foot with your right hand. Press your foot into the hand. Maybe lift the thigh, lift the upper body a little bit. Half bow pose. Take another deep breath, lifting up as you inhale. Releasing as you exhale. Press yourself back. This time, go go towards your child's pose. Maybe take your knees a little wider, reach your fingertips again actively forward. And then as you're ready, press the palms of your hands down. Lift back to your table or to your downward facing dog. We're going to move right over to that left side. So when you're ready, inhale your left foot to the sky. And exhale, step your left foot behind your left hand. Right heel comes to the floor. Inhale to come up. Warrior one. Squaring your hips, adjusting as needed. Relaxing your shoulders. As you inhale, center of your chest lifts. Shoulders relax and arms perhaps move back, little back bend. And then as you exhale, you fold forward. You take your arms behind you. You can interlace the fingers. Think about going the weird way again. You could lace your hands up. You could hold a wrist or a strap. If you feel wobbly ever here, you can always place your hands on the floor in Humble Warrior as well. Really get into the bowing aspect of your Humble Warrior. Maybe think about bringing your chin a little bit in towards the hollow of your throat. And as you inhale, you peel yourself back up, unwind, arms come up. As you exhale, left hand to the hip. Soften your shoulders, lift your heart. Maybe that right arm comes a little bit back. You find your exalted warrior. You can stay here. You can slide the left hand onto your tailbone or down your right thigh. See where you need to go to feel a lovely opening all along the right front side of your torso. Relax your shoulder. Take one more deep full breath. Your next inhale brings you up and you windmill yourself all the way back down, planting your hands, back foot turns straight forward and back. Step back, table or downward facing dog. Inhale to plank, knees up or down. You lower yourself all the way to the mat. Again, you can go really close elbows or you can do big wide elbows and lower down. When you get to the floor, you can have your hands on the mat or your elbows on the mat. You kind of lift your torso a little bit as you bring that left foot in towards you. You can hold on to the left foot if you would like. If you like, you can press into the foot and lift a little bit into your half bow pose. And feel free to leave your right hand or your right elbow on the floor today. Just focusing on one side at a time. So you inhale. If you press the foot into the hand or you lift a little higher. As you exhale, release, hands under the shoulders, child's pose. Knees could be together or wide apart. You can see what feels good at this point in your spine. Enjoy a few deep, full breaths here. As you're ready, now you're going to walk your fingertips in towards you. And we're going to take a camel pose. And we're going to stand on our knees. So you may like to take your mat and just fold it over or place a blanket underneath your knees as you come to stand here. See what you need to do. You can practice with your feet flat or your feet tucked under. See what feels good in, again, your knees and your legs. Relax your shoulders. Bring your hands around onto your lower back, just as far as you can. If hands on hips is as far as you can go, work to squeeze your shoulder blades together and your elbows towards one another as we play here. Any angle that suits your hands. Some people like to flip their hands up, some people have them down, some people to the side. See what feels good. No matter where you are, squeeze your elbows together. Lift from your heart. Start from the center of the chest. This moves first. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the elbows. You can push the hips gently forward as you come into this camel pose variation. Holding here for a few breaths. You can let your head drop back if it feels good. Or you can keep your neck quite active and look down the length of your body. If it's in your practice to drop deeper, feel free to do so. You might even just enjoy this supported variation here today. just as far forward as you need to go to feel a little frisson of energy when you're dropping back here. It's quite intense for the body. When you're ready, inhale to come back. Go slow, let your head come last. And then go ahead and just come to seated for a few moments. If you want to sit back on your heels, if that's comfortable, go for it. If you want to sit cross-legged or any other position, go ahead. Let your hands come palm down. Relax your shoulders and close your eyes. Just see how you feel here. What do you feel around your shoulder blades, around the area of your heart? And think of that esoteric yogic heart. It's right at the same level as your physical heart, but it's right in the middle of your chest, at the center of your sternum, where your ribs meet together. Think about that space in your body. When you're ready, blink your eyes open and make your way back to your table or your downward facing dog. Take a deep full breath there. And walking, stepping, hopping, bring yourself to the front of the mat. You're going to dangle one more time. Any of the previous variations or any variation that is your favorite. If I haven't mentioned it, go for it. Take a couple more breaths. Just enjoy the length in your spine. And slowly inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to soften. Inhale to roll all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, arms come overhead. As you exhale, fold yourself gently forward. Inhale, half lift. As you exhale, plant the hands down, left foot or left knee steps back. Right foot or right knee steps back. And we're just going to hang here for a few breaths in table or downward facing dog. If you absolutely love a vinyasa or a push-up or a plank hold, you can add that in. Otherwise, you can join me and just enjoy the stretch of your downward dog. If you happen to prefer a table pose or your wrists are troubling you, you can take a little bit of a puppy here, lowering your forearms to the floor instead of doing just a normal table. Take a couple more breaths. And you're going to come back to your table or your downward facing dog if you went anywhere else. Reach your right foot out behind you as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, draw your right foot in and set it right up next to your right hand at the front of the mat, assisting it as needed. Left knee, if it's not already there, comes to the floor. Press into your right heel and lift yourself up. Back toe could be tucked. Feel free to grab a cushion for your back knee. Press your thigh away from you as you again take your shoulders a little back. Reach your arms up into the sky as you inhale. As you exhale, keep lifting the center of your chest, but take your elbows down and back, folding your wings. Inhale, sweep your arms up. I'm bringing mine forward, but you can take yours to the side if that feels preferable. Keep lifting the heart as you exhale. Fold back, wings. One more like that. As you inhale, lift all the way up. As you exhale, fold forward. Plant your hands down, step back table or downward facing dog. And again, walk yourself back to a seated position, whatever one is comfortable to you. Sit it on the heels, seated on the heels or cross-legged or legs in front of you. When you find that seat, extend your arms in front of you. Cross your right arm on top of your left arm and pull the right arm across the body. Relax the shoulders. This might feel like a lovely stretch. You can stay here. Or if you like, you can take the backs or the fronts of the hands together for a more eagle shape in your arms. Relax your shoulders. Turn and twist a little bit over to your left, so maybe your arms are now lining up more with your left knee. And then gently bring your elbows towards your belly, folding into this sleeping eagle twist. Chin to chest, elbows to tummy, rounding into your spine here. Feel free even to take your left ear towards your left shoulder to stretch the right side of your neck as you stretch your right shoulder and the back of the right rib cage. As you inhale, you're going to come out of this, lifting up, coming back to the center line. Unwind your arms. Feel free to roll your shoulders around a little bit. And then go ahead and make your way back to your table or your downward facing dog, your choice. If you need any movements in between sides, if you need a vinyasa, go ahead and add it. And then when you're ready, your left foot comes behind you on an inhale. And on your exhale, you step your left foot up between your hands. Push into that left heel, lift up, hands onto thigh. Press your belly away from your thigh, roll your shoulders back. When you're ready, lift your arms up. And again, it's all coming from your heart. That's where these movements originate. It's not that you're leaning back, it's that you're lifting your heart, and that just brings you forward and open. So as you inhale, you lift your heart, you lift your arms. As you exhale, you keep lifting your heart as you take your elbows down and back. Wings, back bend, heart opener. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, lift the heart, but fold the wings. One more like that. Keep your belly engaged to support your lower back as you do this. Inhale, lift up. As you exhale, fold forward. Table or dog as you step that left foot or knee back. Coming to seated. Take our shoulder stretch over to the other side. Find your comfortable seat. Extend your arms in front, left arm on top this time as you pull the left arm across the body. You can stay there, or you can wind the arms up, backs or fronts together, your preference. Relax your elbows, relax your shoulders. And then turn a little bit to your right so you're lining up your elbows towards your knee. And then folding forward, elbows to belly. I was going backwards. Chin to throat. Feel the stretch on the left side. Feel free to accentuate right ear to right shoulder to stretch the neck if you want to. As you're ready, inhale to lift up, and come back to the center. As you exhale, release those arms. Roll your shoulders around a little bit. And you're going to come back to your table, back to your downward facing dog, your choice. Here you're going to lie yourself all the way down onto your belly. You can come through a little push-up if you want, or you can just flop yourself to the floor in the way that feels best. We're going to go into our broken wing. Extend your right arm straight out from your shoulder, palm of the hand planted to the floor. Tuck the left set of toes under. Place the left fingertips underneath the left elbow, winging the left elbow open. You can rest the right side of your head to the floor, or you can place a prop here underneath the side of your head, looking over towards those left chicken wingy fingertips. Press into your left toes and start to roll over onto the right side of your body till you feel a stretch in the inner edge of your right shoulder. If you need to, you can step your left foot behind your right foot. Feeling that stretch, the openness. You can take your left hand, if you like, behind your back. Some folks can interlace their fingers here on the hands. I've never been able to do that, but if you can't, go for it. Why not? Just feel some lovely openness in your shoulders. Stay it just as long as you can, as long as you need to. When you're ready, you're going to roll back onto your belly. And just rest for a few moments. You could use your hands as a pillow if you want, or stretch your arms by your side. Enjoy the difference between the right and the left. And here, we'll come over into our broken wing on the other side. I just need to move so I don't run into my wall too much. The left arm extends straight out from the shoulder, palm of the hand on the floor. The right hand becomes that little chicken wing. You're on the left cheek on the floor on a block. Right toes tuck, and you push yourself gently over. And it might be fine just to go a few inches. You might feel the inner head of the left shoulder, or you might have to step that right foot back behind you. And honestly, I find it just depends on what I've done with my shoulders, or have not done sometimes with my shoulders during a day, whether I need to come all the way back and put my foot behind, or whether I just literally need to ever so gently lift the right side of my torso to feel that opposite shoulder. If you want a little more, you can take the right hand as well behind the back. Just stay focused on your shoulder. Breathe, if you can imagine, into your shoulder joint. More breaths here if it still feels beneficial to your body. And as you're ready, you roll back onto the belly. And again, take a little rest. Just nice and neutral in your spine. If you want, you could always press back to child's pose if lying on your belly doesn't quite do it for you. You're ready. You're going to lift your torso up a little bit, and we're going to go back to our threading. Lots of threading the needle today. Take your right knee up and out to the side for a tree frog position. You can be practicing as usual with your foot flexed or with the sole of your foot towards your leg. See what feels comfortable. But then what you're going to do is thread your right arm underneath your left armpit. So you're threading away from your bent knees. Lift your torso up a little bit. Take your right arm underneath your left hand. And this is where a prop might come in really handy. Feel free to rest something underneath your head here, because now you're again lowering the weight of your body onto the shoulder. And you're in this twisty, bendy tree frog. And you can stay right here. If you want to go deeper, your shoulders feel quite open at this point, you could again interlace your left fingertips into your right fingertips and take that right shoulder a little further underneath the body. fact, you could rest your head all the way to the floor and take your left hand behind your back if you wanted to. In fact, if you wanted to do a really fun little quad stretch, you could fold your left foot in and hold on with your left hand as you're here. Just, completely turning yourself into a flat, on the floor pretzel person. Things just winded up all confusing. Like your right knee is out to the side, your right arm is underneath your body, reaching over to the left. Maybe your left hand is behind your back or your left foot is folded in. Lost all track of which body part is which. When you're ready, go ahead and release yourself in the order that you came in. So if you held the foot, you release the foot. If you moved the hand back, that's the left hand, you move it forward. You unthread the right arm, and you take the right knee back. And again, just rest for a little bit. I'm partial to stretching my arms back behind me. And feel free to take the position that feels good to you. Hopefully now your shoulders feel nice and tender on the right side. Or your shoulder on the right feels nice and tender. And tender as in like tenderized meat, not as in, touchy tender. Feels soft and supple, mobile. When you're ready, you lift your torso up a little bit. You're going to take your left knee out to the side for that tree frog position. Foot flexed, or sole of the foot a little in. Lift yourself up and thread your left arm over to the right. So you're threading again away from your bent knee. It's quite intense, so just stay as long as you need to. And then you can rest your head on a block or folded up sweater or really anything you have handy or on your hand. Spending a few moments here deciding if this is the right place. If you want to go deeper in the shoulders, you can lace the right hand to the left hand. Give it a little tug. Bring that left hand a little under the body more. A little more under the body. That extra little quad stretch, you could fold your right leg in, reach your right hand around. The block would be very handy underneath your head here. It doesn't quite like to reach the floor, that's too compressive in your shoulder, but you want to find that little extra kind of, it's like I feel like I'm making scrambled eggs out of my body as you kind of wind everything up and twist and fold things, like you're whipping things into quite an interesting position. When you're ready, you're going to release. So you're going to unwind yourself, and you're just again going to rest for a few breaths. Enjoy that maybe pleasantly fatigued, warm sensation in your shoulders and your upper back, around the space of your heart. Under your shoulders and press yourself back to seated. This time, take your legs out to the side and come to sit right in the middle of your mat. We'll roll ourselves all the way down to the floor here. As you come to the floor, draw the soles of your feet in so your knees are pointing straight up to the ceiling. We're going to take a gentle bridge pose here, reaching your hands down. You might like to see if you can touch the middle finger of each hand to its respective foot. Nice and close with the heels is what you're trying to think of. Take your hands, and we'll start with the hands by the sides. Press the palms of the hands to the floor, about a 45-degree angle. Relax your shoulder blades against the mat. Engage your belly button as you inhale, lift your hips. Find that bridge pose. And you can stay right here. This might feel just nice today, using the hands to help support you. If you want to go a little more back bendy, you could grab the outer edges of your mat and gently pull apart, lifting your heart. Or you could even wiggle one shoulder and the other shoulder underneath you. Maybe interlace your hands behind your back. Your variation. 4 or 5 breaths here. When you're ready, release your arms if you lace them up. Slowly bring the hips all the way back down to the floor. Take a moment here to rest, maybe letting your knees knock in towards one another, taking your feet a little wider than your hips. And in fact, open your arms up to the sky as you breathe in. Cross your right arm on top of your left, wrap your arms around you, give yourself a big hug, maybe massaging a little bit your shoulders, your arms. Arms up as you inhale. Press your left arm in front, wrap your arms back around yourself. You can keep your knees in, or you could take your knees out, soles of the feet together if you like. Little Baddha Konasana action. When you're ready, gather your knees in. Unwind your arms first, I forgot to tell you that. And then gather your knees in. It'd be hard to do so with your arms all wound up. And then take your knees one, and then the other in towards your chest. You could hug your legs in towards you as you rock side to side. Pardon me. Or you could turn the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling, holding your feet or your ankles or your thighs or your calves for a happy baby. If there's any other pose or shape that your body desires to finish this practice, you can go ahead and add that in. As you're ready, making your way towards Shavasana. As usual, it's not the shape that's important in your Shavasana. It might simply be lying on the floor. You might like to make it a little more elaborate, adding pillows, blankets, cushions in any assortment, any alignment that feels good. You might simply sit quietly for a few minutes. Find where you are relaxed. From there, again, draw your attention to the center of your chest, to your heart center. And just be aware of that space. How does it make you feel to pay attention to that part of yourself?
spending them here in Shavasana. Then it's time to return to your day. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe to turn your head a little right and left. As you're ready, roll yourself all the way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. Making your way to your most comfortable seated position today. Gather your hands in front of your heart, just as we've been doing all class. Lift the center of your chest, lift your heart, feel your shoulder blades relaxing. And we'll close here with our deep breath together. In through nose, out through mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice and your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.